Whether you're looking for the perfect glaze or the most satisfying cooking style, these steakhouse pork chops won't disappoint. Harry's Steakhouse and Grill is best known for its pork, and for good reason. Their 7-finger-high pork chop has really captured the imagination and taste buds of meat lovers. The lengthy preparation method entails the application of a secret seasoning, curing, roasting, slow smoking, and caramelizing. The cut is then finished in the oven and topped with Perry's special herb garlic butter. Unlike other steakhouses where meat is cooked and served pre-cut, Perry's adds a touch of theatrics by carving its pork tableside. This is when the meat is divided into 3 separate parts: the eyelash, the loin, and the ribs. The gluten-free dish is served with whipped potatoes and applesauce. The chop is so popular that it's now available for online purchase, fully cooked and frozen, and shipped with a container of steak butter. As one fan declared on TripAdvisor, "The pork chop is easily the best you'll ever have, anywhere." The dinner cut stands 4 ribs high and is easily enough to be shared by 2. If you like pork chops, you owe it to yourself to have this beauty. Listed as a country dinner option on the menu, Texas Roadhouse's grilled pork chops arrive at the table perfectly seasoned and accompanied by a delectable peppercorn sauce. These hand-cut, boneless chops are exceptionally tender and generously portioned, making them ideal for sharing. Unless, of course, you have a really hearty appetite. Texas Roadhouse's chops have won the hearts of countless customers. As one of them raved on TripAdvisor, they are grilled, thick chops, cooked just right and served with a great mustard sauce. The remainder of the menu is hit or miss, but I have to give them props for those chops. And one YouTuber gave them a 10 out of 10, while noting, "I always order the grilled pork chops. They are super yummy, so moist and tender, and full of flavor. They are what I like to call calorie-worthy." Despite its name, Three Forks Prime Double Cut Pork Chop hasn't been cut twice. Instead, the term double cut refers to the unique style of preparation, as these chops come from the ribs of a hog and feature 2 bones. They also tend to be twice as thick as regular pork chops. Three Forks' generous portion is served on a bed of Serrano peach barbecue sauce, which offers a harmonious blend of sweet and spicy flavors. As a finishing touch, a drizzle of balsamic glaze adds some sophistication and richness. And customers are definitely impressed. As one of them put it on Restaurant G, "I will come back for sure. Pretty good food." And another declared on Open Table, "They were the best bone-in pork chop I have ever had." If you're looking for a side dish, Three Forks offers plenty of options, including off-the-cob creamed corn, sautéed mushrooms, and fried Brussels sprouts. Mastro's restaurant poses an intriguing question to its customers. Why order a single pork chop when you could order a double pork chop?
Well, that is true. Actually, that's very true.
This simple query highlights the essence of Mastro's philosophy of making the most out of life's little luxuries. And one of their signature indulgent pleasures is their double-cut pork chop. This 16-ounce cut isn't the most budget-friendly option out there, but it's definitely worth the splurge. Despite the steep price tag, the succulent and expertly cooked bone-in chop has made waves among carnivores. One Yelp reviewer gave it a 10 out of 10, while commenting, "I had the double-cut pork chops well done. So juicy and well-seasoned. Paired with the sautéed mushrooms, it was so good." Another satisfied customer declared on DoorDash, "The double-cut pork chop is such an underrated menu item. We're big steak people and love a good Mastro steak, but the pork chop is like a hidden gem." Morton's pork chop is relatively pricey, but at 16 ounces, it's also generously portioned. This hefty, double bone-in prime pork chop is packed with savory goodness and served with a delightful chutney. If you have a huge appetite, you can also indulge in one or more of the abundant side dishes, including matchstick parmesan and truffle fries, sautéed spinach and button mushrooms, sour cream mashed potatoes, or thick-cut onion rings. Morton's prime pork chop has received resounding approval from plenty of customers. One of them had this to say on Open Table, "The magician behind the meats is awesome. I had the best pork chop I have ever had at a restaurant. Tender, tasty, and cooked perfectly. I chewed on my leftovers the next morning for breakfast, and it was just as tender and tasty as I remembered from the night before." And another fan divulged on TripAdvisor, "I tried a Cajun-seasoned pork chop. It was amazing. If you are looking for cheap food, go elsewhere. But for a fantastic experience, this is the place." LongHorn Steakhouse's cowboy pork chops are center cut, which means they come with loin meat and rib bone. The cut also includes a rich, dark tenderloin that's located on the other side of the bone. Plus, they're relatively affordable, so they offer outstanding value, especially considering that the dish consists of not one, not two, but 3 juicy and tender golden brown seared chops. As it turns out, recreating LongHorn Steakhouse's pork chops in your own kitchen isn't too challenging. In addition to the bone-in pork chops, you'll need paprika, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, vegetable oil, black pepper, and salt. But we recommend indulging in the real thing, and plenty of customers agree. As one of them revealed on TripAdvisor, the pork chops are my boyfriend's favorite meal. The waitress suggested he fire grill the pork chops, and he absolutely loved it.
You see that pork chop?
While the picanha is the usual star of the show at the Fogo de Chão Brazilian Steakhouse, their pork chops also deserve their time in the spotlight. What sets the bisteca de porco, or double bone-in pork chop, apart from other similar offerings isn't just its exceptional taste, but also the unique manner in which it's presented. At Fogo de Chão, the pork chop is served churrasco style, a traditional Brazilian barbecue method in which a parade of grilled meats arrive on massive skewers at the tables. The meat is then expertly carved onto customers' plates. This all-you-can-eat experience also includes side dishes from the restaurant's market table. The double bone-in pork chop is carefully marinated for a full 48 hours in a blend of fresh herbs, roasted garlic, and lime zest. The cut is then grilled slowly over an open fire to achieve optimal flavor and caramelization. One satisfied customer raved on Open Table, "Great food, overall perfect. The pork chop was amazing." Overall, this chop promises some flavorful meat and a crispy caramelized exterior. And if you like your meat ultra moist, you might want to opt for an interior piece of the pork. With just 7 locations across the United States, Steak 48 is a little more boutique than your average suburban steakhouse chain. Founded by the masterminds behind Mastro's Steakhouse, each Steak 48 location has its own in-house butcher to ensure that its cuts are of the highest possible quality. The bone-in Iberico pork chops at Steak 48 definitely fall on the higher end of the cost spectrum. Nevertheless, when you consider the quality, that price starts to make plenty of sense. The meat comes from heritage breed hogs from southern Spain, specifically the black Iberian pig. Their diet consists of acorns, which lends the meat a distinctly nutty flavor and high fat content. Broiled until tender and juicy, the bone-in chop is served on blazing hot 500-degree plates for that fresh-off-the-grill feel. Plenty of customers have been impressed by both the quality of meat and the satisfying preparation. As one of them raved on Open Table, "They're beyond amazing. I loved it. By all means, over 5 stars for sure."
That's high praise.
The unique selling point of Logan's Roadhouse's pork chops is their method of preparation. These mesquite-grilled chops are, naturally enough, barbecued over mesquite wood. Popular in Southwest Texas, mesquite is a hardwood that generates intense heat and a lot of smoke, imparting grilled food with a delicious earthy flavor. In addition to their pork chops, Logan's is also beloved for their slow-cooked fall-off-the-bone ribs. The pork chops are served with cinnamon applesauce that lends a perfect hint of accompanying sweetness. The 2 tender 6-ounce chops also come with a choice of 2 side dishes. This flavorful plate has earned a round of applause from plenty of customers. One of them declared on TripAdvisor, "Stop in for a great meal of pork chops. I enjoyed the stuffed pepper soup along with the pork chops that were cooked to perfection." And another raved on Yelp, "I got the mesquite grilled pork chops with a veggie skewer and fried mashed potato. Perfect. Nicely seasoned, perfectly cooked chops." Saltgrass Steakhouse's double-bone pork chop is a decent value for the mid-range price, especially when you consider all the extras that are included. The 14-ounce grilled cut is served with one side dish, such as flash-fried green beans, mashed potatoes, smoked macaroni and cheese, or fried onions. The dish also comes with your choice of a salad or soup. If you'd rather indulge in a different cut of pork at Saltgrass, then you can opt for some slow-cooked, fall-off-the-bone barbecue pork ribs. But going back to the pork chops, One very happy DoorDash reviewer had this to say: "The double-boned pork chops were absolutely fantastic. They were very tender and juicy. The green beans were seasoned to perfection. Garlic mashed potatoes and dinner salad completed the meal. You've got to try this meal. You won't be disappointed." Other triumphant adjectives used by online reviewers have included excellent, awesome, and delicious. While Outback Steakhouse's caramel mustard glazed pork chops may not exactly be a great example of Australian cuisine, that's not necessarily a problem. The 4 American founders of this chain weren't actually aiming for authenticity after all. In fact, they'd never even visited the country before they decided to go with their Down Under theme. As the name suggests, the secret to these pork chops lies in their mustard glazing. This dish is also served with Creole marmalade and 2 side dishes. Some of the side options include fresh steamed seasonal veggies, Aussie fries, home-style mashed potatoes, and the house salad. The Cooking with Serena blog has recreated Outback's pork chop recipe with some surprisingly simple results. It calls for just 3 ingredients in addition to the pork: honey, sweet orange marmalade, and dry mustard. But if you don't have the time or inclination to cook yourself, you'll surely wind up happy if you head to your local Outback. And there are plenty of satisfied customers to attest to that. As one of them put it on TripAdvisor, "My spouse and I both had the grilled pork chops, mine medium and hers well done. They were both cooked as requested and were excellent. I do not think they could have been any better. I can't believe I ate the whole thing."
I can't believe I ate that whole thing.
Oh, where have I heard that before?
The pork chop at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse arrives at your table sizzling on an ultra-hot 500-degree plate to ensure that it stays at exactly the right temperature throughout the meal. Expertly seasoned and broiled, this 16-ounce chop is served with the bone in and complemented by a side of cinnamon apple slices. Some Ruth's Chris Steakhouse locations, including the far north side outlet in Indianapolis, boast a smoker, which means that you may be able to get your chops smoked, with satisfied customers calling it phenomenal, delicious, and tasty. Ruth's Chris's chop has collected a heap of positive reviews from diners. One glowing testimonial on TripAdvisor announced, "It was out of this world. Piping hot meat that was juicy and tender. I noticed the plate was so hot when it came out, and it stayed piping hot throughout the whole meal. What a great meal. Hats off to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse."